r/AskReddit by Redmond ETS. What dark facts about World War II people should know about? Japan performed horrific scientific experimentation on humans that killed roughly 250,000 in Manchuria. Unit 731. Horrible stuff. Edit. Be warned. Reading this will ruin your day. Dr. Gisela Pearl, a Hungarian gynecologist, was in Bergen-Belsen camp. She performed abortions with her bare hands in order to save their mothers' lives because she knew Dr. Joseph Mengele loved to experiment on pregnant women. She performed abortions with her bare hands. First you think, what an awfully cruel person. In order to save their mothers' lives because she knew Dr. Joseph Mengele loved to experiment on pregnant women. My goodness. She isn't the bad one. The shit the Nazis did to Belarus. They piled entire towns into churches and lit them on fire. They wiped out entire populations in hundreds of towns. They would also allow children to leave the church, seemingly sparing them. Then they'd mow them down later after hearing their families screaming. People think Hitler was evil. Döllinger was practically the son of Satan. When normal people want to have fun with their friends, they go watch a movie. When Döllinger and his friends wanted to have fun, they injected Jewish women with strychnine and watched them convulse to death in unimaginable pain on the floor. The Döllinger Brigade, named after its commander Oskar Döllinger, consisted of convicted criminals who were not expected to survive their service with the unit. During its operations, the unit participated in the mass murder of civilians and in other war crimes in German-occupied Eastern Europe. It gained a reputation among Wehrmacht and Waffen-SS officers for its brutality. Crimes included the mass rape and murder of 15 Red Cross nurses and the killing of thousands of civilians. After troops entered a makeshift military hospital, they first killed the wounded with bayonets and rifle butts before gang raping the women. The naked bleeding nurses were then taken outside and hanged by their feet and shot in their stomachs. Japanese officers would test their swords on captured American airmen. A veteran I knew personally wrote about some friends who went missing after their B-25 was shot down on a strafing mission. Later, it was revealed they were used as bayonet practice after capture. When they learned their fate, they asked to be shot instead. Each man was bayoneted by a member of the Japanese infantry squad, for a total around 25 times. Other men were beheaded. My dad's cousin was captured by the Japanese and survived in a POW camp right until the end of the war. When word came through that Japan had surrendered, the guards randomly selected half of the prisoners, beheaded them, then fled. He was one of the ones killed. Germany used prostitutes as bioweapons. Under their rule, any prostitutes who had STIs were imprisoned so they couldn't infect German troops. As Germany started to lose ground in occupied Europe, they would release all of the women in hopes of infecting Allied troops. To be honest, I don't remember if this happened in World War I or World War II. It could very well have been both. Something you never hear about is what happened to displaced persons, or DP. Over 40 million people couldn't go back to where they originally lived. A lot of people were prevented from going back. A lot didn't want to go back. It's a fascinating story that doesn't get much coverage. There is an article on Wikipedia. During the rape of Nanking, there was a contest between two Japanese officers to see who could decapitate the most people. There were mass rapes, followed by mass suicides, when the Russian army entered Germany. At least 2 million German women are believed to have been raped. It was said, every woman from 8 to 80 years was raped by the Russian army. A dozen Nazi department heads got together at a chateau to iron out the details of the Holocaust. It took less than 2 hours. A movie was made about it called Conspiracy. Oil is still leaking from the oil bunkers of the USS Arizona at Pearl Harbor to this day. How is there that much oil? Not as much that much oil, but instead small fracture where it just leaks very slowly is my best guess, but it also makes me wonder why they don't just either pump it out or clog the fissure. The world's nations didn't want their Jews back. They had already moved into their houses and businesses after all. The murder of Jews continued well after World War II ended and Germany fell. This is one of the biggest factors leading to 40% of Israel's Jews having European ancestry. The 31st of January 1945 sinking of the German ship the MV Wilhelm Gustloff. The total casualties are unknown but are estimated at over 9,000, making it by far the worst maritime disaster in modern history. The shit the Japanese were doing in China, not just Nanking, even made SS officers look away in horror. To this day the Japanese government refuses to admit it ever happened, and most Japanese people were never taught about it in school. Sino-Japanese relations are still soured by that. Yup. Worked with a guy from China who refuses to drive Japanese cars because of it. My mum is Chinese. Her late aunt was horrified that she owned a Panasonic TV. During the Winter War, the Finns put up dead Russian soldiers with sticks as a psychological weapon. A type of scarecrow, or I suppose scared, patent pending. Despite popular belief, half of World War II was fought at night. I suppose that is indeed a dark fact. Guess how long it took for the global population of Jews to return to its pre-World War II number? It still hasn't. People who survived the atomic blast at Hiroshima sometimes had burns on their skin that matched the light and dark patterns on their clothing. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening.